Good evening, I'm Bill DeYoung and welcome to another edition of the Catalyst Sessions for the St. Pete Catalyst. We're happy you're here tonight, keeping our arts community connected. You're there, I'm here, the guest is there. We're all in different rooms, but we're all in the same place, aren't we? Liz Dimmit comes from a car family. Her great-grandfather, Lawrence Dimmit Sr., opened Tampa Bay's Dimmit Ford dealership in 1924. Liz herself is a fourth-generation Floridian from Dunedin, and she's still in the auto biz, sort of. She's managing partner of Dimmit Chevrolet in Clearwater, but her absolute passion, the thing that gets her out of bed every day, is the arts. Liz Dimmit, remember the name. She's going to be a major player in the St. Pete arts community as she prepares the launch of an immersive art experience called Fairgrounds inside a 12,000-foot space in the Warehouse Arts District. So what is Fairgrounds? We'll ask her. Hey, Liz Dimmit, welcome to the Catalyst Sessions.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. And just quickly, I'm a fourth-generation car dealer, but a seventh-generation Floridian.
Well, that's still pretty impressive. I was reading my own notes. Maybe I should work on my handwriting.
Our 95th year in the car business, and grew up here locally in Dunedin, and a great art city in itself.
You describe yourself as a cultural strategist. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Basically, in my career, I help companies, cities, organizations, foundations drive their strategy by activating a cultural strategy. And that could be, usually we're talking about economics, conversation, or audience, and driving those factors and using cultural and cultural strategy or cultural plans, programming to do so.
In English, what does that mean? You make up cool stuff to engage people?
It was a great example of cultural strategy. So St. Pete itself has had a cultural strategy, the city itself, since the early 90s, I think. And the murals on the walls are a cultural strategy. It drives traffic, it generates buzz, it gives artists a place to show their work. Being an art city with so many museums and supporting artists is a strategy that has really helped St. Petersburg define itself. Have a very sort of, we all love the burg and love to stay local and support our own within, Pinellas County. And St. Pete has a cultural strategy, and you can really see that paying off on its rich cultural scene.
So Fairgrounds, art for all, play for all, joy for all. I think I saw that graffitied on a wall somewhere. Tell me, what is it going to be? What do you want to achieve with it? I mean, what are your goals? Tell us about it.
So Fairgrounds is an art experience or an immersive art exhibition. So think about, it's not a museum, it's more of an art playground, choose your own adventure. You buy a ticket, you come in, and there's an entire environment where everything is made by artists. So there's a loose narrative and you can sort of follow a story, or you can just go around and enjoy the artwork. And there's different rooms, different scenarios, different kinds of exhibitions. You could be in an outdoor scenario, you could be in a room. There's everything around you is created by artists. And I take a really broad definition of artists there. So it's not just painting, sculptures, it's artists of all media, including technology. We have performance artists involved, sound art, hopefully fashion, every kind of the arts.
Video installation, movement, things that move and are interactive.
Things that you can interact with, to beautifully painted walls and sculpture. So there'll be a lot of interactive components and things for you to explore, touch, play with.
Are we talking about different themes, or is it always, it's this week or this month it's alligators, next month it's Disney World? Or
over time. So we have a loose theme around Florida and sort of celebrating the weird, wacky, wonderful Florida that we live in. But also we're inviting artists to come and install and collaborate with us. So artists will really drive the content and some of the narrative. We have a loose narrative, but it's by no means defining. And I think it's a story or stories that everyone can sort of see themselves within. But we will evolve Fairgrounds over time, and that'll be changing out exhibitions, further developing exhibitions, further developing stories, changing out rooms. So I think there'll always be something fun and exciting and new to see when you're there.
The concept for me, and I remember our first conversation about this, I probably said something similar. So, bear with me. I mean, is it a walkthrough experience, like a haunted house or something, in different rooms and things happen? Or, with video and art installations, I just assume that it's really just not a static thing with a bunch of pictures on the wall and you just walk
No,
through
it's
it.
definitely, it is. I mean, I would relate it to like a haunted house or something you walk through an experience and is very hands-on.
A
And
beginning and an end.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is there a beginning and an end to it? Here's
There
where you
is
go in, here's where you come
an
in.
entrance and an exit, but the story is probably never ending. And the experience, I think it's something that everyone of all ages can enjoy. So adults will come in and get something out of it. Children will get something out of it, teenagers, whomever. It's really just a 12,000 square foot space that is divided up. We have what we call some anchor exhibitions or some anchor spaces where our internal art team has sort of laid out a plan a little bit, and then we'll collaborate with other artists to realize them, to rooms and spaces that we're just going to turn over to artists, and they can completely imagine their own scenario, their own installation, whatever it is they want.
I think that you think, and I think you're right, that there is just such a wealth of incredible visionary talent around here. I suspect you're thinking, I'm going to have more ideas than I can actually use from people around here.
Which is why we want to change it out over time. And I think, I get the question a lot, like, well, what will it look like? What will it be like? And I have to say, we put a call for artists out this week, which is a really important moment for us as a company. But those artists and the artists we choose to work with and move forward with will really help us set that. They'll tell us what it's going to be and what it's going to look like. So we're sort of providing the canvas or the stage, if you will, but they'll come and bring the paint and the life to it. So I can't actually say what it'll all look like, because based on, we put out an RFQ, so a request for qualifications. It's still open, so I hope all artists will go and apply. It's
I'm going to get to that in a minute. We're going to give it a real heavy plug.
Okay, so but that's a really exciting moment for us, because the artists that we work with, their ideas will create the space, and their dreams will hopefully come true there. So we really think about Fairgrounds as that platform for which we can bring a lot of artists together and have a really visible place for the rest of the public to come and see and enjoy and experience their work.
Are you partners in the factory with Jordan and Carol Bihar? Is that how, so it's the factory is 6.5 acres. What is it, 8 warehouses?
It's 8 warehouses, 95,000 square feet, I think, under roofs. So my family and the Behar family have partnered on the factory, and the factory is that campus and those buildings where Fairgrounds, the company, will be located. So Fairgrounds will be a tenant at the factory.
I think Kara told me that it came from you. You said, I'm looking for a space to do this wacky thing I have. Is that true? And then she took me through it. We walked through the buildings.
It really is. So Fairgrounds, or an immersive art space, has been a dream of mine for many years. And probably about 2.5, 3 years ago now, Kara and Jordan Behar have an architecture studio, Behar Petronek, that is based in South St. Pete in the Warehouse Arts District. So I knew they really knew that neighborhood and were highly involved in the arts community down there. So I had asked them, hey, do you know of any other warehouses available? I'm looking for, 2,000 to 5,000 square feet so that I can do some fun artist pop-ups and installations. And I had this immersive art idea. And I actually went and walked the neighborhood with Kara one day and looked at the little different spaces that were available. And then a couple months later, she called me up and said, I really have found the perfect space for you. It's a little bit bigger than you were looking for. And it turned out to be about 90,000 square feet bigger. But that just is an opportunity for us to do more cool stuff and to bring more established St. Petersburg brands and companies to a place in South St. Pete where we can sort of have a campus and a clubhouse and a place where we can all get together and make art, talk about culture, eat, drink, hang out, do whatever.
So Black Road Coffee is moving its roasting operation there. You've got a craft brewery coming in, a couple of craft breweries, kind of a collective, right?
Yeah, so it'll be a cooperative brewery. We have Daddy Records moving in.
Yeah, that's right.
Next door
Keep St. Pete Lit is going in, the Arts Alliance.
Yeah. So we have a lot. We have the YMCA's teen dance program that's going to.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
A bunch of art galleries are going to have their new sort of headquarters there. So I think it will be this fun arts and cultural hub where hopefully, I mean, for Fairgrounds, I just love having all those neighbors. Everyone you just named is a potential collaborator, partner.
Kara said, you know, you're having a dance thing at the Y. You want a cup of coffee? You want to just go hang out? You order Black Crow. Then there's a record store, which everybody can use. I totally understood that. Yeah.
So I hope to see the YMCA's dancers dancing and choreographing their own pieces inside of Fairgrounds. I hope some of the artists that are based there to have their art up in Fairgrounds, all of the above. So I think all those, you know, Fairgrounds will have the art in the installation, but then I hope we can program it even with other. I hope that one day, you know, a dream would be the Florida Orchestra has a symphony that they have composed that is a soundtrack for Fairgrounds. You know, I hope that every kind of artist, and, you know, from lowbrow to highbrow to super sophisticated to tons of people to, you know, you and your harmonica can come and join and makes a piece of work.
I don't have a harmonica. I have a kazoo. I don't have a harmonica.
Well, I'm in. I'll do it. Like, it sounds great. It would be fun.
Next up, Carnegie Hall. Hey, I'd like to look at a couple of photographs, if that's okay. If Joe could maybe bring up the first photo. Usually something goes blank like that, and then the photo comes up. Yes. Tell us what this is. This is in Amalie Arena. I know the project. Tell the folks at home what we're looking at, something that you did.
This is the Beach Tampa, which the Vinnick Family Foundation, who I am honored and lucky to get to work with. The Vinnick Family Foundation put on the Beach Tampa, which was a large immersive art installation. It was a 10,000 square foot beach and ocean of balls that was conceived by Snarkitecture, and the Vinnick Family Foundation brought it to Amalie Arena. It was there, I think, in 2016. And
what are those white things? It's not sand. Are they little balloons?
A million antimicrobial in this day and age.
That's
balls, like a ball pit, but it was huge. The ball pit itself could, I think, hold 400 people. So it was this entire all-white monochromatic beach environment where the public was invited to come to Amalie Arena for free and experience the beach. It ran for 3 weeks in August, so just that time when you'd like to go to the beach indoors and air conditioning. And, you know, this picture really makes me happy because it shows the joy of the people there, but also there was every kind of person, every age, every background could come to Amalie Arena for free and experience a really playful, wonderful, but also incredibly smart and sophisticated art experience.
And you designed this.
I did not design it. So there's an art team called Snarkitecture, who it's their concept and their design.
You coordinated it down. I get that, yeah.
Yeah, I work with the Vinnick Family Foundation to help them realize their projects. So Jeff and Penny do not need me to tell them what to do. They have incredible art sense and are great arts patrons. So this was totally something Penny had seen somewhere, but decided to bring it to Amalie Arena. And of course, that being such a large building, it was a huge, we made it much bigger than it had ever been before and worked with Snarkitecture to bring it. And it was just a huge success. We gave away over 60,000 free tickets to this project when it ran. And it was just wonderful and fun. And we're lucky to have, you know, people like the Vinnicks who want to bring these incredible experiences here to Tampa Bay.
Can we look at the next photo?
Yeah.
There's another one, I promise. One day we're going to get really good at this part.
You know, by the end of this, we'll all be good at these sort of Zoom meetings and sharing everything.
Okay, here it comes. I found this on your website, and I just wanted to ask you, what is this?
This is an Airstream that has been converted into a living, breathing sculpture by an artist called Randy Palumbo. And he is actually has been a friend and an artist I've really liked for many, many years. And this is an old Airstream, the sort of cute little pod, 16-foot one. And he took out the whole interior, and there's all these glass sculptures, and that's hand-blown glass, that have LED lights inside of them. And then there was this whole sort of meditation / seating area with this sort of disco feel where you could get inside of it and really experience this art space. This piece of artwork is actually owned by Beth Rudin DeWoody, who is a wonderful, wonderful art collector who her collection is mainly in, well, she's in LA, New York, and then in West Palm Beach. So we brought this Airstream up from West Palm Beach to Chicago at that time for Expo Chicago, where it was on view.
She owns the Airstream or just the art?
The Airstream with the art inside of it is a sculpture. It's one whole sculpture. Wow. By Randy Palumbo. So it is one big sculpture that we were able to ship up to Chicago. The Airstream went on a big trailer, went to Chicago, and we invited the public to come in the door and lounge and look. And of course, it's just a wonderful artwork because of all the beautiful silver, the reflections of all the lights. And then at night, it gets even cooler. And so you're sort of looking at the back of the Airstream through that back window.
Wow.
It's an incredible work of art.
I have one more photograph, which will look familiar to people because I think this has appeared in the Catalyst. I know it's on the Behars page and the factory page. This is an artist rendering, one of I guess Jordan's of. Is this just an art gallery in the fair? What are we looking at here?
The art studios and art galleries in the factory. So I think we have about about 4 or 5 galleries and large artist studios. We have some artists that make really large scale works. So they need these big studios that are coming. They've already signed leases. So we hope to have a little hub where you can come and buy art, view art, not just on the second Saturdays, but all the time by having, you know how in New York there's a Chelsea or in Wynwood and Miami, there's a real area of the galleries. This can be a little area of galleries and artist studios where the public can know to come and just be able to walk in and out of these wonderful galleries and spaces and see great art anytime for free again.
I think what's interesting here, the question that springs to my mind is your interest primarily in Fairgrounds, or you're taking an active interest in the other things at the factory too?
My interest is in it all, and my interest is in the Tampa Bay Art Scene as well. So I'm interested in all of it. I think that art begets more art, culture makes more culture, and I'm thrilled to be and excited and honored to be a supporter, or I guess lucky to get to be able to support and enjoy the arts in this area. And we just have St. Pete in particular is such a wonderful arts hub, but Tampa Bay has an incredible artist community, and again, artists, performers, musicians, food, fashion, sort of, we have it all here, and we have such an incredible scene that, you know, I spent 17 years in New York over my career, and I've been back here for 2 years, and I have to say there's always something to do and always something wonderful happening because we have such an incredible creative community, and then incredible supporters of those creative communities and cities that recognize how important the arts and creativity and also what big business the arts are.
Before I get to the call to artists, which is something I definitely want to talk about, what is our current situation doing to the progress on, you know, renovation, construction? I mean, I think the last time I spoke to you, or maybe to Mrs. Behar, nobody really knew anyway. It's like sometime in 2021, later this year. Is this putting a spanner in the works, as they say, a wrench in the works?
I'm a glass half full kind of person, and we are blessed in that we are in that sort of construction building phase. So we're just getting ready to hopefully in the next couple of weeks start heavy, big time construction. So since we haven't opened to the public yet, you know, we're hoping that by the end of the year, we're sort of finished with that construction. Fairgrounds, we're hoping to be open in January of 2021. Wow. So we hopefully have lined up, you know, we're sort of lucky in how the timing has been, but of course we're looking to be a place for the arts community and local businesses to have platforms, and totally recognize, and you know, that local businesses, local creative people are all struggling. It's a really the word I can only think of to say is extraordinary time. It's not something that even, I mean, it's very real because we're all having to deal with it, and it affects all of our pay and all of our lifestyles and where we can do, but it's also so unreal. I can't even get my head around that this is something that, we deal with now. I do think that it's a great time for creative people to hopefully be able to be home and creating and focusing on those positive things, which could be your work, or, we do maybe have a little bit more time for clear headspace to dream up the big ideas that hopefully Fairgrounds, the Factory, and all the other wonderful arts organizations in the Tampa Bay area can help us all realize in the future.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you put out the call to artists this week a little earlier than you had intended to. So if you haven't heard about this, and there's no reason you shouldn't have heard about it because it was big news earlier this week. Not the Fairgrounds, that's the other thing. Fairgrounds, never say that. It's the Factory, but just Fairgrounds. They put out a call to artists for the inaugural exhibition, which, could be in January. God knows, could be soon.
For us, it's January. We're going to push really hard to make that happen. But this is just one of the most exciting, really, moments of my life. It is what has made Fairgrounds become really real, and really, it's a huge step for us as the Fairgrounds team, because we put out an RFQ, so a request for qualifications, a call to artists, for them to send us information about themselves and their interest in working with Fairgrounds, so we can really see what is out there, what the interest is, and what people's ideas are. And we put that out on Monday. And yes, you're right, we put it out a little bit earlier than we had originally planned to, because this is a time when, it is a new opportunity for artists who participate in Fairgrounds and collaborate with us will be compensated, not only compensated for their installations, but they'll also earn a percentage of the profits from ticket sales while their art is on view. So we hope that Fairgrounds will become, a mini economic engine for our cultural community. We can be putting, a little bit of extra money in people's pockets by having them benefit from having their work on view at Fairgrounds.
Well, an incentive, tell me if I'm wrong, but you did the RFQ, and then if they go to the next phase, which is actual submissions, so the RFQ is, this is what I think, it's going to look like this, here's my other stuff. But
the RFQ was really, this is who I am, this is what I make, this is what my qualifications are, and here's what my interest is. And that's really just so we can get our heads around who's interested, what's out there, what the options are, and we'll narrow that down. Basically, we'll prioritize what makes sense for this opening round of Fairgrounds.
Yes.
And invite some artists to continue on to a more formal RFP process, which will have a small stipend because it's going to be work to put it all together.
Right.
We'll talk to them more and walk them through the RFP process and ask for larger proposals. And this is, again, just so exciting because this is what brings the magic to Fairgrounds, the artists out there in our community. The call is for artists in Florida. So we're really trying to keep it local, regional, within Florida, and see what is out there and what people want to make and what their ideas are, and then comb through those ideas and figure out what works well for us for this first exhibition, and start to work with those artists to realize their awesome and exciting ideas.
But there's a stipend early on if they make it to a certain point, which this is what
the next, if you get asked.
Yeah, which is great for these times. This is my point.
Yeah, we really have an ethos at Fairgrounds of inclusivity and of honoring the work that it takes to be an artist and paying people appropriately and fairly for their work.
Yeah. You got a cultural affairs grant maybe in the beginning of this?
We got a CRA grant. So we got a CRA grant last spring. Fairgrounds was awarded $100,000 from the city.
Redevelopment grant. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
Bringing jobs and opportunity to our whole community there.
Well, let's tell those who are kind of chomping at the bit here to be a part of this. Your website is fairgroundsprojects.com is the website.
The best way to get to submit your art is to go to fairgrounds.art. So just fairgrounds.art. There'll be a link that says call to artist. You click on that and you can just sign up, and it's
Okay.
Our view is really very simple. It's not a, we don't want to waste anyone's time. We just want to find out what you do, who you are, why you're interested in. It is a request for interest and qualifications, and it's out there. We hope anyone and everyone will apply. Artists of all experiences, all ages, all backgrounds, working in any media are invited to apply.
Well, I went to fairgroundsprojects.com and it redirected me to fairgrounds.art.
There you go.
So, you're already way out of my pay grade just with that stuff. The Factory's website, for those of you who want to get an advanced look at what these people are up to, is thefactorystpete.com. And that's just about that. Liz, I can't thank you enough for joining us tonight.
Well, I can't thank you for your support and the St. Pete Catalyst for being a great reporting and information source for our whole community and really supporting the artists. I just appreciate what y'all do, and you make it sort of possible. So thanks.
It's a great time to be in St. Petersburg, isn't it?
It's our renaissance.
Yep. I'm all for that. I tell the story way too often, as a matter of fact, that well, you were in Dunedin, but I grew up here, and I left for many years, and when I came back, there was culture in St. Petersburg. When I was a kid, there was not. It's a different place now.
It is,
and it's just
really exciting and enticing time.
It really is. Tomorrow on the Catalyst Sessions, music from Rebecca Pulley and Rob Pastore. Rebecca and Rob are friends of ours and can't wait for that. It's going to be fun. That's at 7 o'clock tomorrow. You're probably not watching this live. I don't think it worked, but you're probably watching it on a recording. And as we say goodbye to Liz now, I'm going to go get the recording ready. Liz, thank you so much. We'll see you. We'll see you when Factory opens. When Fairgrounds, the Factory Fairgrounds. When Fairgrounds.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing y'all soon.
Hey, just before we go, okay? Tell me tell the folks what you told me. Why is there no "the" in front of Fairgrounds?
Because it's just Fairgrounds, and hopefully, my dream and vision is it's like it's like a state fairgrounds. Hopefully there'll be one in many different places, and this Fairgrounds is here, and it'll highlight Florida artists. But I hope that every state has a Fairgrounds in the future to highlight its cultural community and the things that their artists and their makers are making there. So it really is meant to be that platform where the weird, wonderful, the things happening in our community get to go be on view like you would have at a normal fairgrounds.
Gonna be great. Thanks again, Liz.
Thank you.
And everybody, we'll see y'all tomorrow.